You probably have heard of the 80-20 rule, which applies across many fields, but how does it impact your money? Now, the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle, holds that 80% of your results often come from 20% of the input or from the actions you put in. Now, in your finances, the 80-20% also applies. For example, you may realize that 80% of the money that is coming to you is coming in from 20% of the effort you put in. And in turn, it's probably true that 80% of the money you spend is coming into about 20% of the actions you take. So it's always good to consider the 80-20 rule when you are planning out your finances. But here are 5 things to consider to fully utilize the 80-20 rule in growing your money. Number 1 is to focus on what is important to you. You want to start by listing what matters to you so that as you are planning your expenditure, 80% should go to the things that matter to you. For example, you may prioritize getting a home or buying a car, then you probably will want the 80% expenditure to reflect that maybe in savings or in investing so that the money is going to the right channel. Number 2 is after you have decided on your priority items, it's always good to come up with a budget so that you have a pathway to how your money is being spent. The budget items should reflect your prioritization so that 80% of what you consider is important to you is getting a commensurate allocation in your budgeting. Number 3 is to automate, and automation includes automating your savings because savings are important and savings account for paying yourself first. So you want probably to pay yourself first and have an automated savings plan. Then there is also automating your expenses. You can automate your expenditure like rent. You can have a standing order for your rent, your debt obligation, so that the money is always deducted. With the advancement in technology, even with M-Pesa, you can automate your expenses, for example, by setting up a standing order on M-Pesa called Ratiba, so that probably if you support your parents, that money is always deducted, because this now reduces the chances of you taking money from the 80% that matters to other non-issues that do not matter. Number 4 is to cut unimportant expenditure. There are many times you'll track your expenditure and you realize there are many unimportant things that are taking your money. Now, that could even be contributing to 80% of the reason you are not hitting your targets. So, for example, if you have a plan of saving 15,000 and now you, instead of prioritizing that, you say, I will save the 15,000 after I spend. And then along the way, there is this expenditure where you are going out with your friends and you spend 10,000, then that takes you back a lot more than the 80% because that is the money that was supposed to be helping protect your future. And if you're not paying yourself, you are going further back than even the 10,000 that you have used that day. Number 5 is to have a habit of tracking your expenditure and constantly reviewing your budget over time. Now, the point of having the 80-20 rule is to decide on the important things and making sure that they are getting the commensurate allocation. If you often track the expenditure, then you will easily find ways where you can cut expenses that you do not need and increase expenditure on areas that you need. For instance, if you constantly track your budget and you get rid of unnecessary expenditure, that money can go into your savings because now you realize your savings are even bringing you money, which is then in the essence of the 80-20 rule. Money254.co.ke has written more about how you can use the 80-20 rule to grow your wealth and protect the wealth that you have today. Click on the link provided to learn more.